I'm trying to get the lingo right so it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. We all know I don't know what I'm doing, but I make up for it in commitment and intensity, I figure, and excitement for what's happening.
We're Tom and Jules, and together we are taking on our biggest challenge yet. Join us as we tackle fencing, cattle, and everything it takes to bring this land back to life.
We have had a bit of a slow start this morning. Went into town and had some brekkie, had a few visitors this morning, which is lovely. We are just going to make a start on the laneway section of the fence that's closest to the house shed yard. So the cattle, unfortunately, are just not respecting that fence at all. So to be able to keep tidying things up and be able to sort through what cattle we do have and then work out what out of the cattle we want to send off to the sale yards, etc. We need to, I guess, add a couple of strains of barbed wire in just in the hopes that they respect it a bit more so we can get them into the yards, finish off our muster, and then send some of them off on a lovely truck to their new home. And Tom's just going to put in a box section up where he's standing in the hopes to then run maybe 1 or 2 strands of barbed wire along this kind of makeshift laneway fence. They just use standard wire, so we're hoping by running the 2 extra strains of barbed wire it might actually make them respect the fence a bit so we can get them pushed up into the yards and, like I said, send them on their merry way. Hey Tom.
Shoot them all.
Cattle, be gone.
Shoot, bang, bang.
We need to go to a new home, I said, but we all know what that means.
Macca's Burgers.
Macca's Burgers. This is the box section that Tom's going to put in.
Box
yes.
and assembly.
What'd you say? Box end assembly. I'm trying to get the lingo right so it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. We all know I don't know what I'm doing, but I make up for it in commitment and intensity, I figure, and excitement for what's happening. So I'm still not 100%. So I did tap out a bit early yesterday and just kind of took it easy. Yeah. Dang sickness, I tell ya, it's a killer. I think in a previous video of ours when we retensioned all of this wire along that laneway, it worked obviously to a certain point, but now what's been happening is the pressure from all of that wire is actually starting to pull this metal post out of the ground. Tom's gonna
do some real dodgy shit.
do some dodgy engineering and try and put another
Make it even dodgier.
But yeah, another post next to it in the hopes that it'll kind of secure it for now. That way they can then tighten everything off.
Proper rough.
Rough, slow, and expensive.
Proper agricultural. I need your help. Oh, no.
What's the...
Right. Got replaced by a strap.
I'm not even needed anymore. This is ridiculous.
Dad would be proud of how rough This is.
Voila! Temporary sort of fix, but not really.
Rough as fucking sandpaper underwear, that shit.
It's still wobbly, but not as wobbly as it was.
It literally just needs to hold 2 strains of barbed wire on this laneway fence. And we think eventually this laneway fence will completely come out anyway. But like I said before, it is purely just to be able to try and get the cattle to somewhat respect this fence so that we can push them up through here, finish tagging them, and then hold them in that top 5 paddock. Oh, I keep saying top 5 paddocks. Top 5 acre paddock to then be able to send them on their merry way. May work, may not. We may end up ripping this whole thing out of the ground and starting from beginning. Well, that's more likely. But we just need to get them all tagged.
Yes?
Should have bought a beach house.
So Tommy's just walked back along to strain the first strand of barbed wire. So he's just
All the way back up the top there near the shed, just working on straining this piece of barbed wire that he's just run through. So we'll do 2 of those. And then the plan is he's going to come back through with the chainsaw and just clear up these sections of weeds and devil fig and they call it shiny apple or something like that as well. We don't even know what's what, to be honest.
whole property is just full of weeds and ferns. And we found out before from one of our neighbours that the fern that we've got on the property, if the cattle eat it as well, it causes them, can't remember exactly the name of it, but it makes them quite sick to the point where they when they pee, it's actually they wee blood. So makes it even more of an important item on the list of things to do in terms of getting the weeds on this property sprayed and under control because the cattle are already in, the not best of condition and we're trying to improve that. But the last thing we want is them eating a weed of some description that's only going to make them sicker. So again, coming back to my previous comment, the sooner we can get this kind of laneway done and have them respect it, the sooner we can get them in the yards to keep treating them and all of that sort of stuff to get them in good condition so that we can then get on top of the weeds. It's a never-ending battle, unfortunately.
Bit of a cardio workout for you, Tommy.
Yeah. I think, can you cut a heap of those little tie wires for me?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yay, I got a job. I'm useful. How many do you need?
A whole heap.
15, 20?
40 or 50.
Really?
Every post. 3 wires on every post.
Oh, okay. Gosh, your old twisty thing back in action, Tom.
Rather Davo's fencing clips.
Yes, they
Which-
do. They do look good.
You can't go under that.
Yeah. Are you gonna? Oh, you've already done it. Never mind. You already did the bottom one. You're 1 step ahead of me, as always.
All right, so 3 strains of barbed wire are now in the fence.
Ta-da! Magic, right?
Yeah.
Tom is now going to cut down all these weeds.
To try and, I guess, somewhat tidy up this laneway. so that the cattle come through and head up to the yards.
Oh yeah, and then
This fence here has seen better days, so one piece of barbed wire is like growing in, and then obviously all that hot mess over there.
still a bit to do, but we will keep pushing on and hopefully get this all tidied up.
Success. That looks a lot better, but that fence is fudged.
It's good. It's on par with the rest of the shit here.
Yeah, like that. Is that meant to be a post?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
All right, now that Tom's cut down all of those weeds, I'm just going to go through and remove the broken barbed wire that was in this section of fence. Tom's just headed back up to get some of the smaller red posts that we've been using just to kind of put back in as posts rather than, we just don't have any of the wooden ones. As much as I love that aesthetics of what it looks like, it's just in the long term, it is going to be better in terms of putting in steel posts. We have them, we have heaps of them, so we figure we might as well use them. But at some point I will come back and paint them because I hate the fact that they're red and they stand out like, well, dogs, you know what. So we definitely have discussed when we get to the point where we fix up the fence around the shed, I will definitely paint those ones, and then any others that just become a bit of an eyesore, we'll eventually paint them a different colour. But again, add it to the list.
So what do? Put another bit of red pipe in there so it acts as like a stay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
It's not only temporary. It's not gonna. You wouldn't swing a big fence off it,
Oh, no. Yeah.
but it'll just hold it together because this is obviously all going to move again.
Yeah. I guess the key thing with this is it is all temporary.
Once we make a decision on where exactly the yards and a potential new shed will go, then all of this configuration will change to match where we want the laneway coming into the yards and the shed in its new location. Ideally, we don't want to keep it where it is at the front of the property because, well, it's right at the front of the property and it's just not the best use of space. Practical in terms of having a truck coming to pick up all, cattle that you want to sell or get rid of or relocate, but it's just right at the front of the property and it's just not a big enough space to allow us to back trailers and all that sort of stuff, given you are coming directly off the highway. So anyway, we're still deliberating about where exactly to put said yards and potential shed, but again, it's a work in progress.
We need to do this just so we can get the cattle in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I was saying before, is that the whole point of getting these temporary kind of fence sections done that we're working on today is so that we can correctly muster all of the cattle in and then work out from there which ones we do want to offload first. So, but if the cattle don't respect your fences, you've got zero chance of getting them into the yards to be able to do that. you shaking your head at me?
Eh?
Are you shaking your head at me or just in general? It looks like he's walking off the job. Had enough. Going on strike. I think it looks pretty good. It's just depends whether it's going to keep him in or not, right?
3 wires is shit.
3 wires is shit.
I'd rather 5.
Yeah. Well, again,
This is only a temporary dodgy solution in terms of a means to an end, right? Like,
Yeah, it's
it's
going to get all cut out. This is where the carry
yeah,
yards are. So
like
this is all.
in the future, our plan would be to have this all cleared and cut back and level, and then have the yards at the back there with a new shed or something at the front here, that when you bring
the cattle into the yards, you have some sort of cover so you're not out either working in the sun like we are today or the absolute stupid bloody rain where you can't even brand them because they're all wet and the brand doesn't work properly and it's just not ideal conditions. So this will move. This is temporary, but we need to still muster the cattle like we've said before.
So
So
don't abuse me too
So-
much, Dale.
so Tom's already calling it his dodgy solution, dodgy temporary solution. So anyway, that's what we've done.
well, that's what he's done. Again, I feel like I don't think I've done much at all to help, but
Someone's got to be the supervisor and the cameraman and the director and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like I'm working probably at about 40% at the moment, which means Tom's got to pick up my other 60%.
But anyway.
He reckons he does that anyway. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I feel better next weekend and we can do a lot more. But Tom's just going to, I think, tidy a few more things up with the chainsaw. And then I think that might do us for this one. So we'll catch you on the next one.